Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about which tripod you should buy. Now, when buying a tripod, there are many things you need to keep in mind. The first of those is how much you're willing to pay. It's very important to know how much you have and how much you want to spend on a tripod. Number two is whether or not you're going to be shooting video or taking photos. We'll get into this a bit later. And number three is if you're going to be using a tripod a lot and you're traveling around, you're going to need a lightweight tripod. But if you're not, should you buy a more heavy and expensive tripod? So these are the three things I'm going to be breaking down today. So let's start with number one. So the first one is price, and it really just depends on how much you want to spend on a tripod. Now keep in mind, the more that you pay, the better quality you're going to get. However, if we were to look at the traveling aspect, but we're spending a lot of money for tripods, they're more than likely going to be really heavy. Now sure, more expensive tripods are much heavier duty than those cheap $20 tripods you could buy at Walmart. But the ones at Walmart are so much lighter and you can just take them around and set them up and all that kind of stuff. So this makes things a little confusing as to how much you should spend on a tripod. So if you really just need a tripod to hold your camera and you're not doing a lot of traveling, then about 50 bucks is going to do just fine. You can buy some pretty decent tripods for about 50 bucks. In fact, what I'm using right now is a $35 tripod. I found that that's all I need to get the job done. Now, if you're going to be spending a lot on a tripod and you want it for traveling, here's something to keep in mind. For example, some tripods have the option of being able to be made out of carbon fiber, which compared to metals, which is what most tripods are made out of, carbon fiber is extremely lightweight. The best part is it's also really durable. However, this may cut the weight in half, but it definitely doubles the price. So if you have a lot to spend, you can do something like that. But if you're going to be doing videos just like I'm doing, a cheap $35 tripod gets the job done. The second point is whether or not you are a photographer or a videographer, or both. Now you may not have known this, but there are actually different tripods for different kinds of people. For example, there are fluid head tripods where there are also just normal tripods. First of all, what's a fluid head? A fluid head, or sometimes called a drag system, is actually fluid inside of the head of the tripod that allows it to be, well, fluid. So if you're doing any pans or tilts, it's going to be extremely smooth compared to a cheap $15 Walmart tripod. Now this is great for videographers if you're going to be doing a whole bunch of pans and tilts because it's super smooth and not jerky. However, if you're taking photos, unless you're doing really zoomed in photography, this isn't needed. So it depends on whether or not you are a videographer or a photographer. Now, videographer tripods are really expensive and they can get up to almost $20,000, which is absolutely just crazy to think about. You could buy like a really nice car for that amount. Now, if you're doing both, I recommend just getting a fluid head tripod because it can kind of do both things. Now, for me, I hardly do any panning whatsoever, so I don't need this feature. But if that's important to you, then I recommend buying a fluid head tripod. Now another little thing I want to briefly touch on is what camera you're going to be using. Most of the time, photographer cameras are a whole lot lighter than video cameras. If you compare the Canon 7D to the red helium camera, I think I know which one's heavier. So it's very important that your tripod is able to hold quite a bit of weight if you're going to be doing videos. Because trust me, you do not want a $50,000 cinema camera sitting on a $20 Walmart tripod. But I definitely do not recommend getting a tripod any lower than about 30 bucks. For about $35 and up, they're okay, but once you get above 100, that's where they start to get really good. So for the third aspect, that is whether or not you're going to be using it for travel videos. So you want to keep things lightweight, which we've already basically touched on this a little bit, talking about the carbon fiber tripods. But once again, that doubled the price. So you can buy cheaper tripods, which will get the job done, but they do make certain tripods that are incredibly lightweight that are also super sturdy. In fact, it normally works by the more you pay, the heavier it gets, so I'd recommend spending a little less if you're going to be doing travel videos. Plus, if you're going to be doing traveling anyway, you're probably going to have a more lightweight camera, not bringing the red helium with you wherever you go, unless you're doing a shoot for a major company. So in that case, since you're probably going to be using a smaller camera, I'd recommend going with something about 75 bucks or so. They make some really small ones that just hold your camera really nice and tight, but they're also very small and compact and lightweight. If I had to give you a price of how much I'd pay for a tripod, I wouldn't pay any more than about 300 bucks. And so I recommend going with whatever works best for you. If you travel, get a lightweight tripod. If you're a videographer, make sure to get a fluid head tripod that can also hold quite a bit of weight. And remember to stay within your budget. So if you guys found this video helpful, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing, because I'm trying to hit 100 subscribers by the beginning of this summer. So if you want to help me out, you know what to do. This is a clip of me when I was 10, before I had a YouTube channel and before I even knew how to subscribe to people.
Like and subscribe if you can. I don't know how that's possible, but just do it. Just say it.
Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.